Hi everyone, my name is Busari Abiodun. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss about errors that affect the agreement of a trial balance. In my last video, I have discussed about correction of errors in the trial balance, under which I discussed that we have two types of errors. We have errors that do not affect the agreement of trial balance, and we have errors that affect the agreement of trial balance. In the last video, I have discussed about the errors that do not affect the agreement of trial balance. So in this video, I'm going to discuss about the errors that affect the agreement of a trial balance, under which we are going to take these errors one after the other and look into how we correct them. So errors that affect the agreement of a trial balance. This error occurs when the sum of all the debit balances in the trial balance is not equal to the sum of all the credit balances in a trial balance. Just like we know that trial balance is the test of arithmetic accuracy in the account. That is, all the debit side of the trial balance is expected to be equal to the addition of all the credit side of the trial balance. If the sum are not equal, that means the trial balance has an error. So those are the errors we want to consider, those errors that can make a trial balance not to agree with each other. So forms of errors that can affect the agreement of a trial balance. There are different forms of errors, but the major one in which I can categorize them are the one I listed below. The first one is overcasting or undercasting one side of the account. Most times this error used to occur when they are adding up the entries in the ledger, in which as a result of that, maybe there is a mistake that leads into overcasting, that is having a figure that is higher than what we're supposed to have in the ledger, or undercasting, having a figure that is lower than the amount we're supposed to have in the ledger. Such an error will affect the agreement of a trial balance. The second one is one side omission, a situation whereby only one entry is recorded without completing the corresponding entry for that transaction. Such an error will affect the agreement of a trial balance. While the last one is posting in the same side of account, that is when the account of the giver and the receiver, the both accounts are being debited or credited. Such error will surely affect the agreement of a trial balance. So we are going to take these errors one after the other. So overcasting or undercasting one side of the account. This error occurs when mistake is made in adding up the total balance in the ledger, just like I said earlier, or one of the entries is wrongly recorded. When there is a mistake in inputting one of the entry in the ledger, so such a mistake will surely lead into overcasting or undercasting in that account, and as a result of that, that will affect the agreement of the trial balance. So let's take this example. The sales day book of Abiodun Enterprises was overstated by 2,000 naira. The second one, the sales day book of Abiodun Enterprises was undercasted by 2,000 naira. If we look at the two examples we are having, the first one is talking about overstating the amount. That is, instead of having one particular amount, the amount that is we are having that in the account is more than what we're supposed to have. While the second one is talking about the situation where what we are having is less than what we're supposed to have. So now let's start taking the questions one after the other. So the first question, the sales day book of Abiodun Enterprises was overstated by 2,000 naira. So which means in the sales account, the amount we have in the sales account has been overstated with 2,000 naira. That means we are going to deduct that 2,000 naira back from the sales account. And take note, when I was discussing about the classification of account in my video, I said all income are credit entry. That is, a sales is an income, so it is a credit transaction, which means for us to remove an amount from it, we are going to debit it into the sales account. I hope you have mastered how to put entry in the ledger. You know, when we are talking about income, it is a credit transaction. That is, anything that is going to the income, it will be credited to that account. So whenever we want to remove something inside, we debit it to that account. That is how to do it in accounting. So for this transaction, we are going to debit the sales account because we want to remove the amount, the 2,000 from it, while the corresponding credit entry will go to the suspense account. So now let's look at the journal entry. So like I said, the journal that is used to correct errors is called the general journal or journal proper. I have discussed this in details under my video on the journal or the book. So this is the example of the journal proper. So this is the kind of the journal that you have a column for the debit and the credit of the transaction. So for the treatment of the transaction we are talking about, that is the sales day book of Abiodun Enterprises that was overstated with 2,000 naira. I said the sales account will be debited with 2,000 naira. That is sales account 2,000 naira. That's the journal treatment for it. Why the suspense account will be credited with 2,000 naira. That is suspense 2,000 naira. That is, so what this is indicating is that in the ledger, by the time we are preparing the ledger, we are going to debit sales account with 2,000 naira, while the corresponding credit entry will go to the suspense account 2,000 naira. So now let's look at the ledger entry. So we have sales account, then we have suspense account. Now the sales account is to be debited 2,000 naira, while the suspense account is to be credited 2,000 naira. That is, with debit sales account 2,000 naira, the corresponding credit entry will go to the suspense account 2,000 naira. That is the correction. That is the correction for the items. So let's look at this one. So wrong entry on one side of the account, just like I said. So the error can also come from making posting a situation whereby a wrong figure is being entered in one of the accounts. It will surely listen to the overstating or understating the amount. Let's take this example. Purchase of furniture for 50,500 naira was entered in the cash book but wrongly entered in the furniture account as 55,000 naira. So instead of entering 50,500 naira in the furniture account, it was 55,000 naira that was entered in the furniture account. If we look at this amount, we realize that it is bigger than the normal amount that's supposed to be entered into the account. That is, the account of the furniture has been overstated. So to correct this one, so the treatment is that we are going to find the difference with what amount has the account been overstated. That is, by subtracting the 50,500 from 55,000 naira. So we are going to have 4,500 as the difference, which means the account of furniture has been overstated with 4,500. And furniture is an asset, and all assets are debit transactions. So which means for the furniture account to be overstated, we are going to remove 4,500 for it. And for us to remove it, that means we are going to credit the furniture account. That is, furniture account 4,500 naira. While the corresponding debit entry will go to the suspense account. That is, we debit suspense account with 4,500 naira. So let's look at the ledger treatment for this one. So we are going to have furniture account, then we have the suspense account. So the furniture account will be credited with 4,500 naira, while suspense account will be debited with 4,500 naira. That is the treatment for that transaction. Now let's take the second example. The sales day book of Abiodun Enterprises was undercasted by 2,000 naira. So unlike the previous one where the sales day book was overstated, this one, the sales day book is understated. Like I said, sales account is a credit transaction, that is a credit entry. So in this case, it means what you have in the sales account, we have 2,000 naira to be added to it to make the account to be balanced. So in that case, sales account is going to be credited because it is a credit entry, while the corresponding debit entry goes to the suspense account. That is, you credit sales account, you debit suspense account. Now let's look at the journal entry. So the sales account is going to be credited, while the suspense account is going to be debited. That is the journal entry. So now, to treat it in the ledger, that means we are going to open the sales account, then we open the suspense account. So sales account is going to be credited with 2,000 naira. That is, we credit sales account 2,000 naira, while we debit suspense account with how much? 2,000 naira. So that is the correction for this transaction. So that is, we are done with overstating or understating one side of the account. So let's go to the second one, which is one-sided omission. So this error occurs when the preparer of a financial account fail to complete the double entry of one of the transaction. That is a situation whereby the account, the giver, the given side had been credited, but the preparer failed to complete the corresponding entry by preparing the account of the receiving side, or the account of the receiving side has been prepared, but the preparer failed to prepare the account of the given side. Such an error will affect the agreement of a transaction. That is, an account is debited or credited without completing the corresponding credit or debit entry of that account. That's what that is talking about. So let's take an example of that payment of salary 20,000 naira was credited to cash book. You know, it's an expenses which is cash. Cash book is going to be credited but not enter in the salary account. Salary is an expenses and salary account is to be debited. But in this case, the salary account was not prepared at all. It will surely affect the agreement of a trial balance. So how are we going to treat that? That means we are going to open account for salary account. Then we'll debit it with that amount. That is, we are going to debit salary account while the corresponding credit entry will go to the suspense account. So the journal treatment will be debiting salary account 20,000 naira and crediting suspense account with 20,000 naira. So now if we want to prepare the ledger, that means we are going to have ledger for the salaries account, then we have ledger for the suspense account. So ledger for salary account, ledger for suspense account. And what is the treatment? That is, we are going to debit salary account 20,000 naira, we credit suspense account 20,000 naira. That is, so let's the salaries account, we are going to debit it 20,000 naira, while the corresponding credit entry will goes to the suspense account. That is, we credit suspense accounts with 20,000 naira. So that is the treatment for the one-sided omission of the account. So the final one, which is posting in the same side of account. These errors occur when the transaction is being made in the same side of account. Just like I said, in every transaction in account, we are going to have two accounts. So the giver and the receiver. If the account the giver is credited, the account of the receiver will be debited. But a situation whereby the account of both the giver and the receiver are being debited, so that is one side, posting in one side of account, or the account of the giver and the receiver are being credited. That is an example of posting in one side of the account, and such an error will surely affect the agreement of a trial balance. So these errors occur when an entry is made in the same side of account. That is, the account of the giver and the receiver are both debited or credited, just like I said. So let's take an example under that. Payment of wages 10,000 naira was correctly entered in the cash book but credited to the wages account. Wages is an expenses, and expenses is a debit entry. But in this case, in the case of the wages account, the account was credited. So I want you to take note of some things. Wages, just like I said, is an expenses and the account is to be debited. In this case, the wages account had been credited, meaning there will be need to remove the initial amount. Just like I said, wages is a debit entry, but in the case of this transaction, it has been credited. So to correct that, that means we have to remove the money, the amount that was initially credited, to correct that entry by debiting wages account with 10,000 naira. That means by debiting with 10,000 naira, we cancel out the errors. Now, if we now want to post the entry in a proper way, we now debit the wages account with the normal 10,000 naira. So in that case, it means wages account have been previously credited, just like I said. So to correct the error, we will remove the amount by debiting it with the same amount, 10,000 naira. So that will close the account. That is, correct the error that was initially made. So and now we now make the posting into the wages account, which is 10,000 naira. So if we look at that, that means we are going to double the amount. So in the case of errors in one-sided error like this, that means we are going to double the amount into the account. So in this case, it means we are going to debit wages account with 20,000 naira, and corresponding credit entry will now go to the suspense account. So like I said, so the account will be debit wages account 20,000 naira, corresponding credit entry will goes to the suspense account 20,000 naira. From the 20,000 naira we debit to the wages account, remember 10,000 naira have been wrongly credited. So if we remove that 10,000 naira, that means we have 10,000 naira balance there. So that is what the correction is talking about. So now let's look at the journal entry. That is, we are going to debit wages account 20,000 naira, then we credit suspense account 20,000 naira. That is the journal treatment for this type of error. So how are we going to treat it in the ledger? Ledger is going to be, we prepare the ledger for wages account, then we prepare the ledger for suspense account. Now what is the treatment? That is, we debit wages account 20,000 naira, credit suspense account 20,000 naira. So we go to the wages account, we debit it 20,000 naira, we go to the suspense account, we credit it 20,000 naira. That is how to correct this type of error. So once again, for proper understanding of this video, you can check my previous video that discuss about the classification of account, down to the video that discuss about the ledger account. So that will give you clear understanding of what errors that affect the agreement of a trial balance and errors that do not affect